Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome to the Christopher Marc Show. So today I have the privilege of being in front of an amazing, spiritual, in tune, and loving and beautiful person. Maria, can you tell everybody your full name and what do you do?
Yes. Hello, Christopher. My name is Maria Teresa Pradico Swanson. I am a poet. I am an author. I am a shamanic healer, a light language artist, a mother, a sister, a human.
Wow. So let me ask you this. So what got you into holistic healing? Like when was this the start of the journey?
I've always been a healthy person, and I've also been a highly spiritual person. So this this is my purpose. This is who I am. So there's been many roads that have led me to where I am now, mostly, through the darkness of trauma. And this was the most aligned for me. I spent many years in talk therapy and different modalities, of more like mainstream healing. I was also on medications for quite some time, and those really were my detriment after a while, and so I'm a healthy person. I've always been a healthy person. So all of this just goes hand in hand with how I naturally run energy.
That's amazing. I mean, I think that most people don't really know how to transition from, hey, I've gone through this, to now let me go and help heal people and help people and guide people. So what was the in your journey of that transition, like what was the hardest part for you?
I have to say, a lot of people talk about spirituality and these amazing moments. I ran from all of this for most of my life. I was stuck in addiction for literally most of my life. I've been sober for 4 years, but I wanted to turn all of this off. So I'd say the hardest part for me was being patient with myself and learning to listen and allow. Those are big things. Acceptance of self, self-love. That was the hardest part. Life happens for us, not to us. And I think for a long time, I was very confused and very stuck. And I really hated myself. I never felt like I was enough. Living in this world of comparison and competition and, separateness, it was just so destructive for me. And I was so self-destructive. And so it really was allowing the gifts that I came in with, which are, my sensitivities as superpowers, I call them. But for a long time, I was very afraid and I did not know how to share them and I didn't want to share them. And I knew I was different and I didn't like that. So it really was like self-acceptance, just allowing.
When you started tapping into, your higher consciousness and you were allowing things to come in, right? What was the feeling like for you?
Oh my gosh, it was like an avalanche. I'd say my spiritual awakening was just so bombarded with oh my gosh, just amazement. I just remember sitting. I'm a huge nature person, and I can sit outside and just cry with the feelings of being connected to everything that I see. And just curiosity. I've always been a curious person and I love asking questions. I just love to be alive. That's my natural, that's my neutral. My neutral is my sister always says that when she thinks of me, I'm I'm just happy-go-lucky, upbeat, positive person. That's who I am. So it's, getting all that just going. I love to dance. I love to sing. Spirit has me doing, now I channel light language, just all of it. It's amazing and also incredibly challenging. So it's all of it. It's taking, what we would consider the good and the bad, because it all just is. And it's learning to love everything and see the beauty in it. And that's where I am now. I'm just in so much gratitude, and I am just really, really, really thankful for those dark moments, you know, and they come. I mean, they came a couple weeks ago. Like, this energy we're in is like, woo. It's not for the weak of heart. It's like, I've been practicing for this for years. So I'm like, okay, you know, my soul's kind of like this. She's like, I get this like vision of like, yeah, let's go. But sometimes I just don't feel it, and I just tap out and I go into my little cocoon and I just get quiet. And it's like learning for me, like I want to do all the things, but sometimes it's not a good idea for me to do all the things. And so it's be quiet and be still. And that's hard for me because I'm like, I want to move all the time.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about it. It's like people, especially people who are in tune, you know, when you're on the go, you know, there's a time for everything, right? So it's like, you know, there's a time to work and make things happen, and then there's a time to receive. And so about it is that if you're not in a space to receive, then it can't happen for you, because it's more about, if you're a receiver of messages, right? Your messages allow for you to have direction. And so without no message, you have no direction. So it's essentially you're moving aimlessly without it. And so it's like, it's essential to, you know, take that time to slow down and, you know, okay,
Yes.
this is it. Do this.
I love analogies. As the writer that I am, I use a lot of metaphors and analogies. So I think of like floating. Like sometimes, you know, sometimes we're swimming, we're in our flow, and sometimes we just gotta float. Maybe we hang on to the life preserver, and that's like our practices, you know, my daily practices are my life preserver. And if I'm not doing those things, then something is going on within me. And that's when I have to get really quiet. And I'm really good. I live a pretty quiet, peaceful life. So I can just tune out from the world and listen. And also like growing pains, you know, I've been noticing this lately. Growing pains, I haven't been feeling like myself. And so like old Maria would have like beat herself up. She would have pushed herself. She would have made herself do things. And now it's like, nope. I'm going to really take a beat here, because rest is productive. And that is, again, receiving. And so it's like understanding that I'm worthy of that. And I don't have to kill myself. Like there's so many like disillusioned messages we get, right? So much disillusionment. And then when you really, you know, kind of just feel into it, you just feel into it and you're like, that's the truth. The truth is that I'm a beautiful, magical being, and I get to choose whatever I want to do. And there's nothing I always say, like, don't shit all over yourself. I have a client that I coach, and I said, oh, don't get shitting on yourself.
You know, because sometimes people get into that habit. They get into the habit of saying, you know, being extremely critical, because yes, you're in tune with things. Yes, you are receiving things at a higher frequency than most people. But at the same token, you also have to keep in mind it's a heavy weight. It's a weight that most people don't see. It's something that people in their minds, they assume that it's like, oh, okay, well, you're not working physically. You're not carrying bricks or carrying, you know, lifting a heavy bag of things. Like you're just feeling things. And it's like, well, I mean, that's the whole entire world, right? Like everything is all about feelings. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, whether positively or negatively, people react based upon emotions and based upon how they feel about things. And then people in their minds, they always say to themselves, well, oh, I don't like people who are emotional, this, that, and the third. And it's like, well, if you really think about it, without feelings, then everything is devoid of life.
Oh, you just went like, you just got a little robotic there, which is interesting. So, God, I have so much to say that. First of all, our minds are telling us stories all the time. And that's another thing I like to say is like, get downstairs. Don't get up there. Stay in your heart. That's where the truth is. And when you can feel your feelings, that's when you're truly free. If you get stuck, That's because you're not allowing yourself to feel something. And that is the whole experience of being a human. We are so lucky to be in this human vehicle, because like the beings that talk to me, they, spirit has their own worlds and their agendas and their messages, but we as humans get to embody all of this. And being in a body means physically that we feel. And so that is a strength. It's not a weakness. It's a superpower. That's what I've been saying for years. That's what I write about,
Yeah.
and that was another thing I ran from. Was I came into this world and I had so many feelings, and I just like could understand things with other people, and it was so scary and so loud and like too much. And so I was like, how do I turn this down? So let me drown myself with alcohol. Let me drown myself with drugs. Let me, pick up an eating disorder. Let me get involved with like codependent, toxic people here in like reactionary ways, right? And so now it's about responding. It's about listening to myself, because that's really another like true secret is life is an inside out game. It's not an outside in, it's inside out. And so let me respond based on where I am and what's best for me, and not what other people say or they think, or, God, I was like lost in so much people pleasing. And, I was married and then divorced, and like, we're told, a lot of us, to get married and have kids, you're going to be so happy. And I was like miserable because I didn't know who I was. I was miserable. And I love my children. And that's not like a commentary on like marriage and children, because that was a wonderful part of my life. But I was really messed up, and I was not present for it. And I couldn't be grateful for it. And so there was a lot of forgiveness I had to have when I had to leave that, because it hurt a lot of people. But like that's also a huge experience, and it's helped me. It's made me who I am, and coming out of all of it on this end, I'm able to show my children that you do heal, you do survive, you can change, you just keep going.
Yeah, because it's like it's all an experience, right? And so it's more so about, okay, the things that you go through. A lot of times people say, why did I go through this? Why did I go through that? And a lot of times the things that happen to you, you get a chance to, at some point in your life, you're going to get a chance to guide someone else through. They're going to realize that you understand, like you don't just comprehend, you understand. Because a lot of times people say, oh, I understand, but they really are in a phase of comprehension. They're not really in a phase of understanding, because if you understand, you've been through it. And even if the pain is not exact, the pressure of that is there. It's always the same. And so the thing is that you can identify that with the person you're talking to and dealing with. They can connect to you because they know you get it. They know you're not just talking,
I'm listening.
You're listening.
Well, that's the difference between like hearing and listening. There's a very big difference. And so I like to say that my poems, channeling comes from me listening. And then when I write things out, the beautiful resonance is when people say, oh my gosh, I feel like you wrote that for me. And I'm like, well, I don't even have words for that, because how beautiful is that? And that's why a lot of my poems end up in the sessions that I hold with people. And it just ends up that way.
Yeah, sometimes you're surprised that like you say things and your words go out to so many people all at once.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, it's like, okay, I was just delivering this, but I didn't think it would have this much of an impact, And so that's the power behind what you do. It's like what you're allowing to happen, because you decided to, let go of control of the tangible, and you allow things to flow. And sometimes like that's the hard part. Is letting things flow. And it's okay. It's okay if you let it happen. Let things happen, because it's like when you're fighting against it, you're fighting against an identity. You know, you're not
Yeah.
necessarily fighting against anything real. You're fighting against the identity of what people want you to fit within.
Yeah, that
You
belief
know?
system.
Exactly.
It's a belief
And
system I like attached. So there's
yeah,
so many things that I just like love talking to you. There's so many things that come up. It's the attachment, it's the suffering versus surrendering, you know, and I write a lot of mantras. So my being is freeing. That is one I use every day. As I grow, I glow and I stay in my flow. And
yeah.
sometimes we can't do that, and that's okay. Go through those moments. Like again, it's like the swimming and then okay, I'm going to float. I'm going to start swimming again. You know, it's just learning how to I'm made up of mostly fire energy, very mutable energy. So
Right.
change is like something that is constant. And that's, you know, what I've learned and believe is the path of a light worker. As we embody our light and recognize our light, we are changing over and over and over and over and over and just continuing all these experiences. And that's the adventure.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, even when things are challenging and hard, I'm like, okay, there's a lesson in this. What is God trying to say to me now?
You know, it's funny you say that. It's like I always tell people, it's like, you know, we live in a multidimensional world, right? And so we're simultaneously seeing different versions of ourselves. And there's one version of who we are. Can you hear me now?
So you got like very robotic again.
Oh my God.
There you are. Yay. Okay.
Okay,
Good.
okay. This happens. This is not the first
That's
time.
because we're high frequency people and we're like,
So
we're like glitching technology.
yeah, this is not the first time this happened. Trust me.
I know it. It's part of my world too.
But yes, it's like you know, you are experiencing everything from multiple dimensions. And so all the versions of who you are, the person who you're becoming, the version that you're in now, it's okay. You're experiencing different versions of you at the same time. And a lot of times people feel like it's like you're changing, but really you're experiencing the dimensions of who you are. It's almost like a Rubik's Cube.
Oh, I love that. It's like we're changing, but we're really coming together. It's like
Exactly.
it's that letting go, but then the coming together. And I mean, that's the journey in and of itself. It's the expansion and the contraction, and the expansion and the contraction. And we can't constantly expand because then we would explode.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah. And a lot of people seek that, you know, a lot of like spiritual people, like I feel like I'm here to kind of debunk a lot of the myths of like, you know, just spirituality to begin with. It's not all rainbows and ice cream cones. It's not like, and there certainly are a lot of highs, but it's also like just embracing the lower quiet moments. Like there's so much wisdom in that. And that is what I'm, you know, a very big part of my journey as a shamanic healer is, you know, embracing the light, accepting the shadows. And that's the title of one of my books of poetry.
it's important. Like,
well, it's death and rebirth. You know, it's just it's all of it. We can't have just one. And so, another, you know, one of the same client, she'll say, "Could I just mainline all this light?" And I'm like, "No." No, you can't, because it would just be too much. Like you have to learn how to integrate it all. And that's when it gets easier. I know when I first started going into sessions and like, first of all, knowing that I've done this in all parallel lives of my soul. And it just felt so like, I felt so at home and it made sense to me and everything was just beautiful. And then coming back into this like wonky 3D dense world was hard and it was like uncomfortable. And now that doesn't happen anymore because I'm in alignment. And so I can just flow with all of it. And it's not so like up, down, up, down. But I do notice, you know, when people start doing this work, like it can get wonky.
It can, because it's you're here to share. Right, like it's kind of like, you know, you have too much light in you, if that makes sense. You have you know, too much energy, too much frequency. You have an abundance of it,
Hmm.
And so what happens is like, if you focus it on one person, right? And you say, I'm just going to just make this one way. What happens is it overwhelms the person. The person, right? And so that's why, like, you know, people like you or me, like, it's better to use other forms of communication in order to reach the masses, because the information is based around the frequency that each person's in tune with. So
Very true.
for you to reach those people, you gotta, like, you have to be more open with that, because it's too much light for one person to take. That's why you might have it where people might just not like you. Like,
oh yeah. Oh, I'm very aware of that. I always say I'm not everybody's flavor.
yeah,
I also do a lot of things, like, you know, I dance, I channel light language. I go about this thing in a very unique and multifaceted way, because then it can reach everyone in different ways, you know, even just like being present with somebody and smiling, because I am aware, you know, going through all of this awakening period, you know, I would have people be like, oh my gosh, Maria, well, like, that's like, can you stop? I was like, stop what? Stop shining, stop, like, I'm understanding, I'm rubbing up against your ouchies and your boo-boos and shining my light on you, and it's painful for you. And so, yeah, like, it could just be too much. And then it's like, whoa. And I didn't know what was going on. I was like, isn't everybody, like, I was so excited.
yeah, it's a thing of like, and that's one of the things I work with my clients. Like, I help them understand, like, how to understand your power, right? Because you have power. It's not a thing of like, oh, well, I can just, like, you know, give this to anyone and everybody will respond and they'll be fine. It's like, some people have an energy where they literally can just stare at you and just pull your consciousness into this space where you're just like, what is this? Right? Everyone has a different ability. Yours might be through dance and physical expression. And so when people are around you physically, they can feel the intensity of your vibrations and your energy. Right? But every person is different based upon what their path is for. Because you fall into alignment based upon your energy and the path that you're on, and so it can all work together in synergy. So I love that. It's crazy, like, but I when I work with people, they'll be like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, and I'm like, okay, that's great. Let me try to help you on how to, like, be careful with this, because you can also hurt people.
I really love that you're bringing this up. So, like I shared, I'm very fiery. So a lot of my path is learning temperance, keen discernment, and that is very, very important when I am guiding others, when I'm sharing things with others. It's everything that I receive is not meant to be said. It's not meant to always, you know, fit. And that is the mark of a true somebody who wants to consider themselves a healer, because we're all healers. But what are you doing? Are you being respectful of this? Are you holding your responsibility and honoring it? Because it is incredibly sacred. And so there are a lot of things that are not meant to be said, because that person may not be prepared for that or ready for that. And I'm that everything I do is for the best and the highest. And so if it's not in that intention, then it's something that does not get, you know, I'm not here to disrupt other people's experiences. I'm here to enhance it, not mold it as to, like, you know, and that's the difference between, like, ego and soul. So when I'm in a session with somebody, I'm very aware that, like, I am coming from soul. Maria is back there. She's no part of this. It's soul. And so that is something that I learned in my apprenticeship while I was practicing. And, you know, and you know, of course, like, we make some mistakes along the way. And I think that I was very excited and I just like, oh, I'm going to wake up everybody. No. Everybody's got their own timelines, and not everybody's here to have the same experience. And that is beautiful. Like you were saying, you know, some of us are awakeners, some of us are grounders. everybody has their beautiful role and this divine orchestration of humanity. And so not all of us are doing the same thing or meant to.
No, and the thing about it is, it's like, you know, I think this is the thing. It's like, you know, some people carry heavier weights than others, right? And so, like, you might look at what you do. It's like, let's say, for example, you're like using your swimming analogy, but let's say you're more of a deep diver, right? So when you help people, you just naturally just go deep. It's not like you go and like, oh, let me swim on the surface. We're swimming on the surface. It's like,
yeah.
Where's the bottom? It's like, let's go. And it's like, for some people, they're like, oh my God, like, what? Why are you? I didn't know anything was down there. I didn't know all this whole nother world was here. And so your gift and what you do is so powerful. And so, because you can swim in deep oceans, you can swim in areas where most people honestly are afraid of.
I have a personal story with this, because
Sure.
and I love that you like this is what makes the conversation with a fellow intuitive person so exciting, because that is who I am. That is how I came into this world, understanding things in a very deep way. And so when I first started writing and publishing my poetry, my son would be like, Mom, I don't understand what you're writing. It's like so deep. And I'm like, it's okay. It's a language that you will eventually understand, but it doesn't matter, because you feel it. You don't necessarily have to, like, over time, he's learning to receive it. And I've also had people say to me, like, Maria, I love you, especially family, but I really want no part of what you're doing. like I'm good. And that's okay. Like, I respect that, you know, because I do understand that I am a very deep person. I speak in a certain way, you know, I do connect with, you know, my galactic nature. So I go there, and I go down in the deep. That's where I am. And I'm like, what all you people doing up here on the surface? Like that's not interesting to me. I'm like lost. I'm lost up there. I'm like, oh no, I got to stay down here.
You know what? And the thing about it is, it's okay, because before I used to feel like, okay, like I would explain things to people and I'm like, okay, and they're saying to me, they're like, oh, I get it. But then I'm like, for me, you know, I'm always reading energy, right? So I can tell if you comprehend it or you understand it, right? If it's something that you're meant to understand, because that's the other factor too, right? Everything that you want to tell people, they might not be meant to understand. 100%. And so what happens is, that's where there's friction between you and that person, because you're telling them something that's literally outside of the scope of their understanding, and it creates frustration.
Oh my gosh. I mean, boom. That's like just mic drop right there, because that is like relationships in general. And that goes back to discernment. If I say something to you that you're not ready for, or if somebody says something to me that I'm not ready for, I'm like, now me being who I am, and this has taken years, you know, I'm closer to 50 now than 40. In my 20s, if somebody was to say something to me, I'd be like, now I'm like, okay, all right. Let me just entertain that, because there's a point to that. Everything serves a purpose. And that's taken time to develop and to accept, you know, but you're right. It's like, if I just keep trying to like jam my circle into your square, we're both just going to be pissed.
And people get angry about it. And so sometimes you start to realize, like, you know what, it's better for me to, like, I'm at a space now where I communicate through things, and I no longer communicate directly. And I try to set it up in a way where my actions, my efforts, my energy, my physical energy is used to convey the message itself. Because at a certain point, this is already a intense journey that we're on, right? It's like you're receiving information, you're receiving downloads, you're helping people, you're guiding people. But then you're also realizing that, you know, true communication, majority of communication is majority nonverbal. And so once you accept that part, then you can now realize that, okay, if I'm talking, it's like I'm doing myself a disservice. It's better for me to communicate through things and let the message convey what needs to be understood. And it'll trickle down to the right people, because for the people who's on that frequency, they'll be in tune with it, or they're in a lower frequency, they'll be in tune with it. And then for some people, they may get to a place where they're like, this doesn't work for me at all. But either way, you protect your energy, because even though you're strong in receiving that power, there's also a lot of fragility that comes with that. And you have to protect it, because just because you're strong doesn't mean you don't feel. If anything, it's heightened, because now you're feeling everyone's pain and it's amplified. So it's, yeah.
No, I love that so much. It really is a good commentary on my current relationship, because we are very, very different people. And I feel that is his lesson for me, is to, like, he'll say to me a lot of times, Maria, shh. Because he's very, very intuitive as well. But it's like he's teaching me the opposite of what, you know, and also to, like, it strengthens me by not just scattering my energy everywhere. And also to that point, you know, again, with, like, discernment and just really understanding when to give the message and when to hold back and just be a ground, receive, you know, it's, both are equally very important. Very, very important.
Yeah, because it's, you know, it's like we said earlier about people being in a quiet space. Like, even though you're in this quiet space, all you're really doing is receiving you're dealing with a lot of things, a lot of your emotions, other people's emotions, you're hearing it. But what you're also realizing is that in that moment, there's peace in it as well. All that anxiety, all that frustration, you're hearing all of it, but you're not allowing it to move you. That's the thing. That's the thing that's happening. This is not moving me. I'm centered within this. Yes, the words, the voice, the feeling is terrifying. It's creating all these different feelings and emotions, but I'm sitting with it. So I don't allow it to control me. I'm learning to control it.
Well, it's like being in the eye of the storm. That's what I was just watching a really interesting documentary on that very thing, about being in, like, the eye of a tornado. And like, this woman in the documentary was like, yo, like, I could do anything now. And it's like, it's learning that within yourself all the time. And so there's teaching this art. I'll say to people, you don't have to go that deep. We can just pick up on certain things. We don't have to. When I was a child, I went so deep into things, which is why I feel very comfortable in this deep space, and I do get things in a very deep way. But I don't always have to go there now. I don't always have to go there, because just getting an inkling of it is enough. I don't have to go all the way in and feel. And that's what I think I was doing for so long. I was like, you know, I was doing all of these things and really doing them to my own detriment, which is why I think I was so self-destructive.
Sometimes it can be because you're feeling all these things. What do I do with this? Right? What do I do with all of this? And then it allows for you to disconnect from people. And so now you're like, okay, if I sedate myself, that's really what it is. It's like you're receiving all of this goodness, and where you are doesn't match how you're feeling. That's the struggle. It's like, it's not matching. This is not matching up. I need to, like, either I'm going to suppress this and sedate my feelings, or I'm going to work through this.
Yeah.
And the thing about working through it is now you have to open your arms, you have to open your hands, and you just have to let it embrace you. Because that's what it's trying to do. All of the energy you're trying to feel is going to embrace all of you. And so that's the thing, that you're right. You don't have to go that deep. But I think that sometimes with people, it's just that, that's why people like you and me are here, because it's to guide people. Some people are just there in this dark space and they feel like, this is who I am. And it's like, no, there's a light on the other side. And they're like, you're lying. And it's like, no, I'm not. Let me show you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's the lie I think most of society swallows, is like suffering. And really suffering is not that there is a purpose for it. And then there's an ending to it. And it's turning it over. And we don't have to suffer forever. Like,
no. No.
Because let me suffer for my art. It's like, no.
You don't have to suffer. I talk to a lot of people I work with, they're artists, and I'm like, like, you can still be an artist if you allow yourself to accept that this is all an experience. Mm-hmm. It's not definitive. It's not cemented. It's free flowing. Because the thing about it is that if you live your life in that way, you're not moving anywhere. There's no forward, there's no tomorrow, there's no nothing. You're living constantly in a space where you don't have any hope, right? And so what does that, how can you live like that?
Well, I'll tell you, Christopher, because I've been there. Okay. Yeah. I tried to take my own life, and that's the story. My gift of desperation was being in a hospital and being quiet enough and also so sorrowful and hopeless. And I looked out the window and it was a cloudy day, but I saw so much light. And I heard the voice of my higher power say, like, what are you going to do now? And that gave me so much hope, because I was like, wait a minute, this is like the worst time in my life. Like, I wanted life to be over. I was done. And I just got this glimmer of like, there could be something next. What do you want to do? And that gave me so much hope. And that's, the greatest acronym for hope is hold on, pain ends, and everything is temporary. Yeah. And that has helped me since that moment in 2011. And I have a tattoo, like a semicolon on my middle finger with a diamond under it, because all of that like is a remembrance for me. I'm like proud of those moments. Like, no, I need things. That's how I am. I need things really, really hard, under pressure. I put my hand on the stove. I burn myself. I've done it a lot. And now I just walk a little closer to the fire and I'm like, oh, that's hot. No, thanks. And it gets easier and easier to not do those things, to not hurt myself. And so going back to your original question of like, what was really challenging to live holistically and healthfully, it's really just my own guidance. It's like, this has hurt me in the past, so therefore I'm not going to do that anymore. And that's what helps every choice that I make. I mean, I used to be like a 2-pack-a-day smoker. I think about that now and I'm like, wow, it's crazy. I don't even drink coffee anymore. Like, I don't want to take myself outside of Maria. I want the whole 100% Maria experience in this body, married to my soul, this combination, this like ego, marriage, soul connection. This is the experience I want. I don't want to take away from it. So I make healthy choices, 99% of the time. Sure, I have my human moments where I'm like, I'm gonna have like, some sugar. I'm gonna have like, that to me is like, oh, I'm gonna really treat myself. But I do it because like, I had an eating disorder for a long time. So, I do let myself have those moments. I'm not as crazy and strict as I used to be and destructive. But for the most part, I'm a sober person. That's huge for me. That's huge. Like, that alone is every day, even the thought of it makes me feel so uncomfortable. And it's the exact opposite of what it was. It was like, let me get up and get the heck out of this body.
No, I totally get it. I think that for me, I've had a few near-death experiences, and I can tell you, even in those moments, I always come out and I'm like, there's always someone who's going through something worse than me. And so what I realized, I'm always in this space where I'm like, why am I here? Right? I was always in this space like, why am I here? Like, I get it, everybody has value, but it's like, I know that I'm supposed to do something, like something that's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you start to realize that, like, there are certain things that only you are here to do. And it's crazy because it's like, you think to yourself, like, no, because it's like all these billions of people in the world. Why me? Like, but it's like, no, it's like, this is what you need, because the level of love that you have, the level of empathy, the level of compassion, the level of discernment, right? All of, when you have a high volume of things and you want to give, like, you are at a place where you're just like, I need a mission. I need a mission. I don't need to exist. I don't want to be alive. I don't want to live tomorrow. I need a mission. I need something that awakens me, not forces me just to wake up.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. What was coming to me was, I have allowed, and this is also a title of one of my poems, my heart song, I have allowed my heart to sing. I'm listening to my own tune and I'm sharing that with the world. And so my mission is to help heal humanity one heart at a time through my poetry and my healing. And allowing, everyone to be who they are, to listen to their own heart song and add to this divine orchestration that we are all a part of. That is the purpose. That is the purpose of being here. And only I can do what I can do, and you can do what you can do, and we are all needed here. Yeah, all of us.
And that's the beauty of it. It's like, it's no, a lot of times people have this thing of like comparison. And it's like, you cannot compare when we're all on the same, we're achieving the same goal.
Yeah.
Right? In different ways. And so it's more about sharing, right? It's not necessarily about, oh, who's better, who's this, who's that. It's more so, how can I make things support you in your journey? I'm not walking your path. It's like you're not walking mine. But how can I support you? How can I uplift you? How can I inspire you so that you can help the people that you're here to help? And so most people have to look at it that way, because, this is a journey. It's a beautiful journey, but it is a journey.
That it is. And I'm listening to, like, I'm hearing you got to serve somebody, like Bob Dylan sang, we're all here to serve one another. And that, like, years ago when I heard somebody say to me, like, you have a servant's heart. And I was like, oh, yeah, I do. Because I've always been very interested in other people and wanting to help other people. And, didn't really understand the idea of, like, in it for myself. Like, I'm very much a partner and a companion and a friend. And so for me, it was feeling worthy enough to be a leader, to stand in my own truth and to share these words and to come out with it, because I was very much like, in the beginning, like, okay, here's this something that I just like got and I'm going to like barely speak it. And now it's like, no, this is what I'm here to do. I'm going to present this to you and you do with it what you want. Yeah, but my job is to get it out there.
It's easier when you know what? And I think this is the other thing too. It's easier when you understand the importance of your value, right? When you understand that, then you will speak and speak, and you will scream to the top of your lungs, and you will let everyone know what you're passionate about, because you have people who are willing to listen. Because everybody can't hear this conversation. And what I mean by that is, like, even though this will be like a podcast segment, it's like, everybody's not going to hear this. They'll comprehend it. But
Oh
then
my
you
God,
will
I'm
be.
like getting so emotional, like just listening to you because this is like lately, you know, I work with a lot of women. I do work with men. And that's not to say anything about men or women because we're both equally important.
Right.
But I think my journey here as a female, I really understand, you know, the trauma and the abuse that I've gone through. And so it was allowing myself to accept my own worthiness. Yeah, I had to. Like, I'm worthy to be here. I'm worthy to have a voice. I'm worthy to speak this truth. And then when I do this, other people go, hey, wait a minute, me too. Me too. And that's what we all need to do. And that's this time that we're in right now. Like these next, you know, we can talk about, because I love astrology. So we could talk about like just the cosmic energy of Aquarius. And that's what it's about. It's about collectiveness, revolution. What I've been writing about lately is like, we are the leaders of the love revolution, leading us back from fear and disillusionment and separateness to oneness and love and harmony and joy. And we're all worthy of that. All of us, not just a chosen few.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's like, it allows for you to guide people, right? Because if you know, your purpose is in alignment with other people's purposes. It's crazy, but it's true. And so it's like, how can you do what you do if there aren't people who are in the same space that you were, right?
Yeah.
So it works. It all works. It all comes together.
Well, that's the timing of it all, right? Like people come in and out of our lives for reasons. You know, I remember just a year ago, I was going through a lot of different changes, and I like to, you know, challenge myself. So I was training for a triathlon, and I did the triathlon, and, you know, part of me is like, what next? And then sure enough, like this beautiful person came into my life, and like, I look at her as like a sister. She's like a best friend. And we are now like opening other things within each other. And it's just so beautiful. And that's what we're here for. You know, and then there might be a time where like, not that she leaves, or she might, I don't know, you know, but like I've had people come and go in this experience, and I've had to learn to move on, to go to the next, because that's what we're here to do. It's like, let me help you for the time and you help me. And it's this energetic exchange. And then we're going to move on. There's going to be other things and other people and other experiences. And, you know, I think like, I know a lot of times, like I get this vision when I'm struggling or if I'm being resistant, and I have my hand really, really tight, and my angel guides come up on me and they help me open one figure at a time, one figure at a time. And like, let it go, Maria, let it go.
Yeah. Because you gotta understand, it's like, it's, even though you connect with people, and I've been guilty of it, right? You connect with people.
Yeah, of course.
You built this almost like, you know, family type of connection and vibe with this person. And you ask yourself, okay, well, why is this ending? Why is this, you know, what's happening? And what you're not realizing is that, like, you know, everybody has a role, right? It's almost like a person who is, you know, are you a stop for this person to recover, right? For this person to actually feel better about themselves, to believe that they can continue on.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I remember, I gave you an example. I remember one time, I was on my way to school, and this girl, you know, she asked me, she said, hey, you know, do you have like $5? I just got out of jail. I don't have any money. And it just so happens that's exactly what I had in my pocket. And I was like, here you go. And she was like, you know how many people walked past me and didn't give me anything? I said, no. I was like, something told me to give this to you. I was like, it's okay. Yeah. And she was just like, I really, really just want to say thank you. Like, she just got on the train and just kept saying thank you the whole entire time. And so sometimes, like, we play a pivotal role in people's lives. We're a part of their chapter. And I think that's a great thing too. Like, that's the most beautiful thing, is to say you're a part of their chapter. Even though you're not the book, You're not the entire book. You are a part of the chapter. I think that's the most important part. And I think that's if you can be a part of as multiple chapters, then essentially you can become like essentially a well-known encyclopedia.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, that speaks to my writer self. I love it. Like the co-star, you know, it's like, I'm a co-star. I'm a co-star in a lot of things. Sometimes I'm the only person, like I'm starring in my own life. Starring in my own journey, you know, I'm the star of me, but I'm gonna co-star with people. We're gonna have like an ensemble here. And that's super, super beautiful.
Yeah, as long as you're able to play the supporting role, you know, because that takes strength to say, hey, this is not about me.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, like, wait, this is not about you at all? No, it's not about me, it's about you.
Well, that's one of the secrets, isn't it, Christopher? When people, when you can stand back and go, okay, you know what? I'm not going to take this personally. It's not about me. And I just listen and let that person have their experience. And I'm here, like I'll listen. And that's what it was with that girl. You saw her. Many people we don't see. Like we just keep going. We're in our own little movie and we're just going. But you saw her and you were like, I see you.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of what we do, man.
I see everyone. Sometimes I get distracted with how many people I see. I'm like, ooh.
You know, and that's the thing. It's like you're going. I used to, for me, it was always like I wanted to help so many people, and then I start realizing that, you know what, I have to figure out a way where I'm helping the people who want me to help.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
oh
right?
yeah, because you can't do people's work for them. So I work with people who are ready to do their own work. And that's what I say. I can come in and I can, you know, energetically align certain things within your being to help you heal yourself. I'm not healing you. You're healing you. I'm adjusting certain things because I have the insight and the foresight, and I have this gift that I was given, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to share my gift with you, and then you're going to go and you're going to take it. And that's the beautiful part of this type of healing. If you don't want to do the work, then that's up to you. But I'm going to exit. Yeah. You know, I'm not here to do other people's work for them or have, you know, like that's your journey.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, once you accept that's your role. Yeah. And what you do, then it makes things so much easier.
It's a lot of pressure off.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, I want to ask you one last question. Like, what if you had to? This is a good one. If you had to talk to the older version, like younger version of you, the version of you before you now, what would you tell her to let her know everything is going to be okay?
I would tell her to keep dreaming. Keep looking at the sky. Keep smelling the air. Keep your curiosity and just be patient. I have been running through life wanting to experience everything all at once. And I would have, because I'm a deep person. So I was like, oh, I just want, you know, always like chasing after the next thing. Slowing down has really helped me a lot. And it took really into my older years to do that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Maria, how can people find you if they want to work with you?
Everything that I do is Emotional Musings. So I'm on all platforms, Emotional Musings, Maria Teresa. I just launched my sister site called The Musing Shaman, and it's linked on Emotional Musings, both of them linked to each other. So Emotional Musings, The Musing Shaman, that is all my work, my blog, my poems, my services, everything is there.
I felt this way before when you talk, you know, it's always this feeling of like, you know, I'm just so happy for you.
Thank you.
You know, and I mean that in a sense of like, because it's being able to embrace all of your gift, all of your beauty, all of the things that were inside of you this whole entire time that were meant to blossom. I'm happy that people get to see that and experience it. And not only that, but you get to support so many people and make differences in people's lives. So I'm just happy for you. Really, really happy.
I'm happy to be in my skin now. I like my skin. My skin is cool.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. I'm comfortable being me. And if I'm comfortable being me, then you can be comfortable being you, and we can vibe, and we can all do this thing together.
So Maria, you have a poem for us?
I do. I have a poem that begged to be channeled at 1:30 this morning. And I call it Through the Eyes of Kali, a Prayer for Redemption. Om Karim Kali Kali Namaha. In these times of unprecedented change, I call out to the goddess for deliverance from all that no longer serves me, so that I may be reborn anew into the magic of a beautiful new beginning. Creation is born from the destruction of the old in these times of mysterious unknowns. God, deliver me from the darkness of chaos. Destructive forces abide by inner peace and sacred wisdom. Reverence of the mighty, one true power. Merciful one, gracefully devour all that seeks to harm me. Compassionate soul flower, forgiveness is honored by those who seek holy oneness. Unity transformer and speaker of the truth. Fearlessly pursue the light in every situation. Come back to share all the joys this life has to offer. Laughter is the defying factor when seriousness threatens to lock into conformity's binding chains. Becoming undone, messily vacant and devoid of any direction, until the seed that was planted is ready to take shape, rooted in ancient lands and watered by inspiration, formed by spirited essence and bathed in sunlight's brilliant rays. She comes alive in the glow of her confident smile, all the while remembering who she is at her core. Nothing can stop her. The monsters aren't real anymore.
You know, that is amazing.
Thank you. That's a deep one.
That's a deep one. That is a powerful one.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
I started feeling the words, and I said, "Kali," because Kali does not. If people know like the myth of Kali, the goddess of death and rebirth and destruction and chaos, and you know she's a scary one, but she's a fierce warrior. And she will push you through the depths to come out in the light over and over and over and over and over again. So, yeah, I've been doing yoga for 25 years. So, you know, I very much respect and honor Goddess Kali. And the beginning of that is the chant that is chanted 108 times, which creates a vibration and calls Kali in. And, you know, that is something that I've learned over time to accept.
You know, and that's the it makes sense. It makes sense why, you know, sometimes like when you are called to do and walk a specific path, it's like you run, right? You run because you're getting ready to understand something that is beyond your existence. And that's powerful, and it's beautiful at the same time.
Yeah, beyond your current level of comprehension.
Yeah.
It's being pushed and birthed through you. And that's, I got to tell you, like, oof, we could like go into a whole other conversation, but like, that's what I've been feeling lately since like the beginning of this year. And here we are already in the end of March. And I just know that there's like my higher purpose is calling, which is like me being like more accessible and just getting out there more and whatever. I don't really know. I'm not meant to know until it happens, but I can feel it and it feels overwhelming, but I also know this is what I'm here for. So
just the thing is just receive.
Yeah.
Receive, because even though you don't have to, you know, like knowledge, there's a weight to it,
Mm.
right? So it's like I had a dream about this conversation.
Our
Actually,
conversation right now?
yeah, it was like months ago.
Mm.
But I was going to say this to you, but anyway,
Mm.
knowledge has a weight to it,
Mm-hmm.
and the weight that you feel like, okay, well, let me obtain this knowledge and carry it, but it's not meant for you to carry. It's meant for you to share. It's meant for you to give away.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant for you to bestow upon people. When people carry it, it's because they're trying to be worshipped and trying to have some form of idolatry. But we are a part. We are playing our part in the role of the universal flow. So
That is just so beautiful, because I know that this is not about, like I said before, this is not about Maria. This is not about like fame and fortune, and like this is about sharing the message, and that's what I am here to do. I am a vessel for divine messages. It's not about me, it's the message.
I will say this to you: when you receive, because you're going to receive in abundance. Remember, when you receive, that those blessings are for other people. They're meant for you to hold because you are trusted.
I'm like speechless, because like that's
Okay?
yeah, that's something that I had a friend years ago say to me, Maria, you have this invisible blinking light on your forehead, and it says, it's okay, you can tell me. Like, and I am somebody that people can trust, and they just tell their deepest, darkest to, and that is who I am. I've been that way since I was a child. You know, it took me a long time to understand. I'm just gonna like hold your stuff. I'm not gonna like, you know, make it my own. I'm gonna receive it, and you're gonna feel less burdened. And that's how it works.
And that says a lot about how strong you are. Right? Because you can hold the weight of other people's trauma and frustration and anxiety and feelings and fears. And you can hold them effortlessly because it empowers you to become empowering.
Yeah, that's the beautiful, you know, what we can do for ourselves. Like for me, it was learning grace, because I exude grace, and being compassionate to myself, to share compassion. That's how it works.
Maria, thank you for joining us on the show. I appreciate sharing this moment with you.
Me too. I'll say enlightened in shadow, always with love. Namaste.
I hope you guys enjoy. Peace. See you on the next episode.